Welcome to the In Love with PMDD podcast, where we dive deep into dating with PMDD, PMDD relationships, stress, triggers, PMDD rage, and really understanding how attachment styles play a role in PMDD relationship. So I am Dr. Rose, your PMDD relationship psychotraumatologist, and I've personally suffered with PMDD for over 19 years. And I've dedicated my practice to help you stop the monthly PMDD breakups. My dissertation, the phenomenological study of the relationship experiences of partners of individuals who suffer with PMDD, gave me insight and tools on how PMDD affects the partner who has PMDD as well as the partner who does not. So each week, I'll be sharing my specialized trauma transformational tools to help you rewire your PMDD brain, get rid of the stress during the luteal phase, and finally have the relationship that you both desire and deserve. So whether it's understanding PMDD triggers, controlling PMDD rage, or healing past trauma from events that have happened in your relationship, this is your space to rebuild your relationship, empower you to connect with someone while having PMDD, and ultimately grow stronger together. So to get private PMDD relationship counseling sessions or for more PMDD tools, go to inlovewithpmdd.com. Now let's get into today's episode. We got this. Today, I want to talk to you about one of the most common misconceptions that happen in PMDD relationships, and that is thinking and feeling like it is your job to manage your partner's issues, to manage your partner's insecurities. And I just really want to talk to you about this because this is one of the main reasons for the partners and the sufferers to begin to have burnout in the relationship. And it is because you feel like it's your responsibility to fix your partner. It's your responsibility to make them feel more secure. It's your responsibility to make them feel happier in the relationship. It's your responsibility to make them feel happier in their life. When you see your partner is dissatisfied with a certain area of their life, specifically that's impacting the relationship, you automatically get into fix it mode and you feel like you need to do something about it. And I know it's so hard to be sitting on the sidelines and seeing your partner suffering in a specific area. But when you begin to feel that pressure that it's your job to make it better for them, there's a level of caregiver burnout that you're going to begin to experience because it's not sustainable over a long period of time. If you really think about it, there's probably always going to be something that your partner needs to work on. There's always going to be an area of their life that they need to grow in. Maybe it's their emotional intelligence. Maybe it's managing their PMDD rage. Maybe it's managing their rage if they're the partner who doesn't have PMDD. Or maybe it's self-soothing. Maybe you need space when you go into PMDD and you just need your partner to be able to self-soothe and not take everything so personally. So there's always going to be something that your partner or you need to work on in your PMDD relationship. And if you're consistently becoming codependent where you're trying to fix one another over time, it's not going to be sustainable and you're going to feel trapped. You're going to feel trapped. You're going to feel overwhelmed because you're going to be thinking to yourself, how much longer can I do this? Like I'm in this situation where now I'm fixing this for my partner. And then next I have to fix this for my partner and I have to find the resources for them. I know a lot of, I have clients that, they're the ones that, discovered that their partner has PMDD and now they're doing all the research and they're finding the tools and they're doing all the things. And the partner who has PMDD is not doing anything. And so what happens is when you don't take that mutual accountability for the issues that you have in your relationship, it doesn't feel like a relationship anymore based off of intimacy. You literally transform into this parent-child relationship where you feel like you're taking care of a child. And what happens with that is the intimacy is gone because not only does your partner feel like they're the child, now they're looking up to you as like this parental figure. So now when you're talking about intimacy, it's not there because they're just trying to, oh, I need to do this. Okay, let me go do this. I need to do that. Like they're looking at you like there's this superiority, complex, but that's not good for intimacy. Because you want to be able to look at your partner like a partner. And the way that you do that is to be able to take mutual accountability, the both of you. And it's not about blaming a partner for having things that they need to work on. It's more so of understanding it. So it's not that you don't talk to your partner about the issues that you have. You can talk to them about it and then say, okay, what's your game plan? And you can support them in what it is that they're doing. So I have this package. And it's basically like a pyramid where I work with one partner on their issues that they have with the PMDD relationship. I work with the other partner, and then I work with you together on how to combine the tools. And that's the most, out of all the packages that I have, that is the most successful one because I'm dealing with each partner individually. They're able to speak to me about what's really going on with them. And they're not speaking to me in a realm of, dumping things on and talking crap about their partner, but they're like, this is what I'm struggling with. What your partner is struggling with is going to be completely different from what you're struggling with in the PMDD relationship. It's not going to be the same. And that's why these individual sessions are so beneficial. So if that's something that you know that you need help with, go to inlovewithpmdd.com and get those counseling sessions. And what you're going to see is a package. That one package has the PMDD relationship toolkit, has the course, My Partner Has PMDD, Now What? And then it has the private sessions with it, or you can just get the sessions. So what I want you to understand is, if your partner has things that they need to work on, it doesn't mean that they're not supposed to be in a relationship with you. It doesn't mean that you're not compatible. It doesn't mean that they're the wrong partner for you. You should want your partner to be consistently growing. This is for the partner that has PMDD and the partner that doesn't, but not growing to the point that you're self-sacrificing your own mental health, your own emotional health. Like basically you're neglecting yourself so that your partner's issues are being taken care of, because over time you're going to get bitter and resentful for doing that. I remember being in this situation so many times in relationships because I do have that kind of fix it mentality. Like I see a problem, and whether my partners would ask me, I would just immediately assume that this is something that I need to help them with, because they would be communicating and say, oh, I really need help in this area. Like even if it's something with finances, if they said that they were struggling in their finances, the first thing I would do is be like, oh, how can I help you? Like, cause I'm really good at budgeting. So I would literally take over, make them a budget, make them a plan. And then when they got to the point where they didn't like, being on a budget, or they didn't like the plan, they blame me. And they were like, oh, it's your fault, I'm in this situation, and blah, blah, blah. That's what happens when you are the one that's providing the tools for your partner. If anything goes wrong, you're to blame. And now it seeps into having issues in the relationship. And you don't want to be in that position, because you need to have a separate entity. So I'm going to go over some of the reasons why you don't need to take on the burden of your partner's issues. And I know it's a hard thing to say, because you're like, it's not a burden. I want to be there. Yes, you want to be there. You want to be there to care for them, to support them, but you don't want to feel like they're only working on their issues if you're involved in them. Basically, if you're providing them with the tools, then they're willing to work on them. If you stop providing them with the tools, then they're no longer working on them. That's not sustainable, because now all the pressure's on you. You almost can get to the point where you feel obligated to stay with the person, because you say, man, if I leave this person, they're going to stop working on themselves. Why do you want to be the reason that your partner is working on themselves? Your partner should have their own intrinsic, their own internal reasons for working for specific areas of their life. I was dating a person recently, and they were like, oh, I need to get back in shape. And that was really hard for me to hear, because I love, my PMDD partner's morning routine. I work out every day. I move my body every day. And a big part of me, like I had to reel myself back, because a big part of me wanted to like integrate them into my morning routine and kind of give them a workout plan and all of these things, because I am a personal trainer on the side, one of my billion jobs. And so I really wanted to do that, but I had to stop myself. I'm like, no, don't do this, because you know what that looks like when you begin to hold someone accountable. I did this for my ex. I held him accountable to a routine, and we were doing the routine together. And then when he fell on hard times or whatever, and he stopped doing the routine, I was kind of holding him accountable, like, hey, like you're not doing your routine anymore. And he got mad at me one day and was like, I don't need to do a routine. That's your thing. It's not my thing. And then it became an issue in our relationship. And I was like, whoa, like it was originally coming from a good place of me trying to help. But what happens is, if they ever stop wanting to do it, if they ever stop wanting to improve themselves, they're going to be looking at you like you're the enemy, because you're holding them accountable for doing something that they don't want to do anymore. And now there's tension between the two of you. And so the best thing to do, and I found this out, I learned this the hard way. So I'm telling you, if you're that person that's on your partner, hey, you need to get I've had clients where you need to get your passport. You need to do this because we need to go here and blah, blah. You're nagging them and nagging them and nagging them about what they need to do in their life. And they know. This is what I want you to know. They know what they need to do. They just might be in a place where they don't want to do it. And you nagging them doesn't make them want to do it even more. It almost makes them want to do it even less, because it's almost like, who are you talking to? Like, you're not my parent. You can't tell me what to do kind of thing. There's a level of rebellion that happens when they're consistently feeling like they're being nagged for things that they need to do to improve their life, especially when it comes to for a health aspect. And it's like, but I care about you. I love you. I want you to be healthy and all these things. They know how to be healthy. They know the things to do. If they're in a place where they're not wanting to do it right now, you cannot make them. But what you can do is you can make them pissed off. You can make them annoyed. You can make them avoid you. And that's going to trickle into issues with your PMDD relationship. Because if they're having a hard day and they're not wanting to do something, they're not going to want to talk to you about it, because you're going to be that person on the side just like, you need to go do this. And don't you know that you're not supposed to be eating that because that's not good for you? And did you take your vitamins? Leave them alone. They're a fully functioning adult. They survived their life before you. And honestly, if anything happens, they will survive their life without you. You're not their parent. It is not your job to raise your partner. It is your job to support them in their journey with whatever it is that they need to work on to make themselves feel good. And I know how hard that is, because what I was noticing when my ex was like slacking on certain things, there were certain things that made him feel good about himself. So what happens when you stop working on yourself? And I know this personally too. If you take a break from working on yourself in a specific area, you start to get insecure. You start to get insecure in certain areas, and the insecurity comes from you not doing the things that make you feel good and make you feel your best. For example, let's use working out for an example. Say you stop working out, you gain 20 pounds, and now you're not even in a place of wanting to work out anymore because now you've gained the 20 pounds. It's always harder after you've gained the weight to move your body. And now you're feeling insecure in the relationship. You're not feeling as confident. You're feeling like the intimacy is now getting impacted. You're not wanting to take your clothes off in front of your partner because you're feeling insecure about your body. And then if your partner goes out and your partner's still working on themselves, and you're thinking, wow, what if they go out and meet someone that looks better than me? Like, this is how this insecurity can happen. I know it happened for me dating, when it comes to dating and education. Like, now that I'm dating and I tell people that I have a PhD, it's like this big thing. It's like, oh, well, I was going to go back to school and I was going to do this. And for me, I don't care about all of that. I'm not that. I want you to do what makes you feel your best. But a lot of times, by you exposing just random facts about you, people can feel insecure about that. So like, it's not my job to encourage them to go back to school. It's not my job to say, hey, what do you need to do? Like, I found myself wanting to do that and being like, okay, well, if you're feeling insecure because I'm a doctor and I have a PhD and you have an associate's, like, what can we do to get you back in school so that you're feeling, because basically all I'm wanting is the person to feel good about themselves and feel like we're on an even, not even, just like not in a place of a deficit. I don't want someone else to feel insecure because of things that have happened, or to me, like things that I have going on, because it's not a requirement for me, but I think it's automatically, if you show up and you're excelling in a certain area of your life, you're mirroring it to the person that you're with. They're automatically feeling insecure. This can happen consciously or subconsciously. Again, we talked about finances. So if I'm going in to a relationship, and this happened with a person I was dating where they didn't make a lot of money. They had a career where they didn't make a lot of money. And when it came time to go out, they were just like, oh, I don't know if we can date because I don't know if I'm good. I know that I'm ready to date, but I don't know if I'm ready to date you because of what you're accustomed to, because of what you're used to, because I know you have money and you're probably expecting me to take you to all these fancy places, but that's not sustainable to me. I would just rather do simple things. So maybe I just need to date somebody else and all these things. So all of these insecurities started to come out, and I never asked the person to take me on these elaborate dates. Have I had people on a first couple dates take me to Napa and take me on wine tours and lavish me with all these things? Yeah. But did I require it? No. That's just what they're able to do when they're dating. And for a lot of people who have money, that's nothing. You know what I mean? It's not like they're going out of their way specifically for me. I don't take it as a reflection of how they feel about me. I just think for people, specifically where I live in the Silicon Valley, for those who don't know, I live in the San Francisco, the Bay Area. And there's Google down the street. There's Facebook down the street. There's WeWork down the street. There's LinkedIn down the street. There's a lot of engineers. There's a lot of rich people here. You pretty much have to be rich in order to live here. So shelling out a couple $500, $600, $700 on a date is nothing for these people. Absolutely nothing. But if I meet somebody that I'm really connecting with and they have a job that doesn't make a lot of money, I'm not going to say, oh, I don't want to date you because of this. But if they're perceiving they're feeling insecure because of what they have going on in their life, then they may self-sabotage, which has happened where they're just like, I can't keep up with you. No one's asking you to keep up. A lot of times your partner can be insecure about things that you never required them to do. So I want you to really think about that. Think about if you're in that place of comparing what you have to what your partner has, to what another couple has, to what this, like maybe you have couple friends and then you're going out and you're like, they're super affectionate and they're super connected. And then all of the issues that you have with your intimacy is like staring you right in the face because you're obviously not looking connected. You obviously are not holding hands. You're obviously not kissing and all of these things that another couple is doing right in front of you. So then you may be feeling insecure and like, maybe my partner would love to be with someone who's really affectionate. Like I dealt with this. And I'll give you one more example. I've dealt with this so much that I can just keep going on and on and on, but I know examples are really, really helpful. I go to church every Sunday. It's part of my faith. It's part of my Sunday morning routine. And that's my thing. That is my relationship with God. It is my personal relationship. If I'm connecting with someone, I remember my ex-husband literally began to get insecure because, I guess he's not a church. He was saying like he's not a church person or whatever the thing is. We had separate religions. He grew up Muslim and I grew up Christian. I always believe do what makes you feel your best. When we go to eternity, whatever you believe in, I'm not going to be standing there with you. I'm going to be standing there with me. It's going to be about my relationship with God, my relationship with my faith. So I'm never going to project that on someone else. If that's not something you're comfortable with, as long as you're not influencing my personal relationship with God, then do whatever makes you feel good. I've dated a lot of Jewish people here who have that faith, and I respect it. I respect all religions, whatever it is that you choose to practice. I agree with the Buddhist religion. A lot of their practices about peace and mindfulness and stuff. I use it in my practice. I just have my personal relationship with God. So I'm not looking to compare, but I think a lot of times when someone's looking at your lifestyle, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, if I'm with her and she's a Christian, I guess I'm going to have to be at church every Sunday. And so my church is if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see me in church, and everybody used to think it was a concert. I had to literally put like, no, this is my church. Like, I love it so much. The music is amazing. The band is amazing. People are just so happy and motivating and nurturing. And there's been so many times where I've been in the depths of PMDD, tears coming down my face. And it's just such a relief for me. This is part of my practice, my faith, my thing. And he came to church, obviously one Sunday, and I'm up there dancing and I'm having fun and all these things, and I'm connecting with God, and it just fills my cup. And then he was like looking around at these men who were like also doing that. And then we walked out of church and he literally said, I bet you want to be with someone who wants to dance around in church. And I was just looking like, I never said anything to you, chicken nugget. Like, why are you projecting your insecurities on me? I never asked you to dance around in church. And I said, well, as a matter of fact, like, since you brought it up, which is a lot of times what can happen, your partner projects their insecurities on you. And now it becomes an issue because it's like, well, I wasn't thinking about that. But now that you mention it, yeah, I would like someone that dances around in church and that loves God and all these things because it's aligned with me. Is that a requirement? Obviously not. I'm with you. But a lot of times you create issues that aren't really issues because you're projecting your insecurities on your partner. So I want you to be very careful about how you're dealing with the insecurities that come up, because when you get in a relationship, it is an intimate relationship. It is going to expose all of the issues that you really have with yourself personally, because you're being mirrored with this other person. You're now looking at, what is it that I can provide to this person? So if you have an insecurity, like we talked about with your body image, if you have an insecurity with your finances, if you have an insecurity with your education, if you have an insecurity with your faith, if you have an insecurity with any of these issues that are connecting you with this person, it's automatically going to make you feel uncomfortable to be around them, because they may be in a place where they're thriving and you're not, and you're working on it. And for me, I think that, it can be motivating to be with someone who, has these accolades that you don't necessarily have. I know with my partner, my ex-partner, my ex-husband, ex, when I met him, he had an associate's. By the time we got divorced, he had a master's in counseling. And it was because he watched me get my doctorate. Did I encourage him? I absolutely did, because he kept bringing it up. And I was like, I feel like you, I did it in such a loving way. I was like, I feel like you would be really good at this, because he got his in counseling with life coaching. And I still think that to this day. I think he's an amazing coach. Like he's so motivating. He's so like, I can see the gifts in other people. So if I'm telling you about something, it's not to make you feel bad or make you feel like you have to do something. It's to pull out the greatness that's already in you. It's like, hey, you can choose to take it or leave it. Whether you take it or leave it, I'm still going to love you. I'm still going to care about you. I'm still going to be here. But if this is something that you want to work on, like, I will help you. And he literally got his degree at the same university that I did. And I helped him, but there was so many rough times where he was struggling with school, and he was like, I'm doing this because you told me to do it. And I was just like, what? Like, I don't get anything out of you getting a degree. I don't get an extra couple of letters on the end of my name. Like, I'm doing this literally for you. I'm supporting you for you. But a lot of times when you're the one that caused them to be pushed in a certain area of their life, when it gets uncomfortable, guess who they're going to be looking at? It's kind of like the teenagers when you're telling them all these things. And you're like, you need to clean your room. You need to do this. You need to do that. When they don't want to do it, they're going to be mad at you. Like, you're the problem. It's like, listen, I didn't mess up your room. Like, clean it up, chicken nugget. So I'm going to go over the reasons. I always give you the tools. I'm going to go over the reasons why you should not do this. Like, take it from me. Matter of fact, you're going to feel so much lighter when you just take your hands off of whatever insecurity and issue that your partner has. Take your hands off. If they don't want to do it, if they don't want to work on it, it's okay. It's not their time. That doesn't mean that they're never going to want to work on it, but they may not be ready. And I know for me, when I've made big changes in my life, I had to be ready, because I had to be able to motivate myself. And if you're sitting there waiting for the motivation, I don't like the word motivation, because I feel like it's so like you're like, you can only do things when you're motivated to do them. I believe in discipline, where you're doing what you need to do, whether you feel like it or not. If I only did what I was motivated to do, I wouldn't have anything done, because you get in your follicular phase and you're like super motivated to do all these things. And then you get in your luteal phase of PMDD and you're like, yeah, I'm not doing that. So I can't go off of motivation. If you have, and that's a whole separate episode, but if you have PMDD, stop waiting for motivation, because it'll come and it'll leave, and you'll be sitting there looking crazy because you'll have all of these unfinished projects, which used to be me. And it's no shade. That used to be me. I used to start a whole bunch of things in my follicular phase and never finish them, because when I got in my luteal phase, when I got into PMDD and I started suffering with symptoms, I didn't feel like doing it. And guess what? I had the mentality, if I don't feel like doing it, I'm not going to do it until I feel like doing it again. And when did I feel like doing it again? When I got back into PMDD, back in my follicular phase. So it was this cycle of starting, stopping, and you end up beating yourself up about it. That's one of the ways that you get the insecurities, because it's like, man, I can't finish anything. You almost think you have ADD or ADHD because you keep starting all these projects, when really you're just moving off of motivation. Like, you're just moving off of, when I'm motivated, I'm going to do it. When I'm not motivated, I'm going to do it. And your partner could be doing the same thing, and it could be driving you a little bit crazy, because you're seeing them. You're like, yeah, they're making progress in this certain area. They're working on themselves. And then they stop when they don't feel like it. And then you get on them and you're like, I thought you were working on this, or I thought you weren't going to eat that because you were trying to work on your weight, or I thought you weren't going to spend that money because you're working on saving. Like, you're pretty much ripping the blanket off of all of their insecurities. It's like, they know what they're doing. Just let them do it. So the first reason why you don't need to take on your partner's insecurities or issues is you are their partner. You're not their therapist. And I will repeat that. You are their partner. You are not their therapist. It's very, very supportive to listen to what your partner is going through. But when it comes to a fix-it plan, you need to have an outside entity. You need to have someone else that is going to hold them accountable for their goals, so that it doesn't interrupt the intimacy and the connection that you have in that relationship. Because say if they're going through something as they're working on something, and they want to just talk about it, but they don't want to talk about it with the same person. Like, if I'm trying to lose weight, and I'm really struggling with a certain area, and I want to just sit and have a piece of cake, I don't want to have a piece of cake with somebody that's coaching me to lose the weight. Like, that's not comfortable. Now I'm going to be feeling insecure about like putting stuff on my dinner plate, because I feel like they're going to be watching me. Like, let them have that's what my ex said. We got a coach for him. We got an outside entity, like a workout plan or something. Go hold yourself accountable with that workout plan, with that coach, with that separate person, not me. Like, don't let it be you. Okay. So Yes, listen to them. But when your partner has deep rooted insecurities, past trauma, unresolved issues, childhood trauma, all the things, they need a professional. Like when I needed help with dating, obviously I'm not going to go to, well, obviously I can't go to somebody. Well, okay. When I had the issue with self-love at the beginning of the year, and I was like, this is something that I really need to work on. I don't need to project that on anyone that I'm dating. And it's like, hey, I'm trying to love myself. Can you help me love myself? No, I hired someone, and I talked to you about the program that I'm currently enrolled in. I invested and hired someone to help me because I don't want to project my insecurities on a partner and feel like they're going to be like, well, what can I do? What can I do? It's not their job. It's not your partner or anyone that you're dating. It's not your companion's job to fix you. And so the next reason that you don't want to take on your partner's issues is you deserve emotional space too. Your emotions, your needs, and your well-being matters just as much as theirs. But a lot of times, if you're comparing your situation, you're like, well, I'm better in this area. You're going to tend to put your needs on the back burner because if your partner is really jealous and insecure, you're going to be giving them extra attention, extra validation, extra love so that they can feel secure. And you're going to get burnt out because you're going to be like, I'm giving this, I'm giving this, I'm giving this. And they're still jealous. They're still insecure because you're going to be neglecting your own peace and feeling like in order for my partner to feel secure, I need to be pouring into them. And so the next reason is taking on their insecurities creates resentment. This happened with me a lot of times where, you know, if I was constantly absorbing my partner's fears, my partner's doubts, my partner's anxieties, my partner's issues, and I started to feel drained and unappreciated because it started to felt like it was expected. Like I was just expected to keep taking on everything that was going on with them, and I didn't even have time to deal with what was going on with me. So I felt burnt out. I felt frustrated. I felt disconnected because I felt like every single time I was talking to them, I was going to have a conversation. It was going to end up with me pouring into them and I'm getting depleted. It can, because they'll start to get used to it. When you're that person that's pouring into them, they'll get used to it in a way where it's like in the beginning, they may be super grateful, right? But then over time, it's like, of course you're going to take care of my issues. Of course you're going to save me. And it's like, it's not sustainable long term. If this is like a short term thing, like a one time thing, yeah. But if they're going to be expecting it over time, they're going to start to lose appreciation and you're going to feel devalued. You're going to feel burnt out. You're going to feel resentful. And if you ever stop doing whatever it is, it's really going to be an issue. Like that's the thing. You have to be able to sustain it and keep it going. Because if you stop providing that support, like they're almost going to treat you differently because you're not providing that level of support. And what you're doing is the next reason is your partner must learn how to self-soothe and manage their own emotions. I'm going to repeat that. Your partner needs to self-soothe and manage their own emotions. One of the biggest lessons in PMDD is understanding that your partner's emotions are not your responsibility to manage. Your partner's emotions and feelings and moods is not your responsibility to manage. If they expect you to fix every time that they have a mood, and this is for the partner that has PMDD and that doesn't, they were never going to self-soothe. They're never going to regulate themselves. They're going to put everything on you to make them feel better. And so they're never going to learn how to self-soothe. Where if you're in PMDD and you're wanting to take some space and time to yourself because you're struggling with your symptoms, you're never going to be able to do it because your partner's going to be right there. But I feel lonely and I need attention and I need affection and I need validation. And you're going to be like, well, is there anything else that you can do while I'm struggling over here? And they're going to be like, no. The next reason is boundaries are healthy. They're not hurtful. So this is how you can set a boundary, because I had to do this before too, where I knew that my partner was expecting me to help in a certain area and I just didn't have it in me sometimes. And I would say, I love you, but I can't take this one on for you. I love you. I care about you, but I cannot take this one on for you. Like, I don't have the capacity right now. And it's not abandoning them. It's setting a boundary, but I know how you can feel like if I don't meet their needs, I'm abandoning them. No, if you're already emotionally overwhelmed and exhausted and you're depleting yourself, you're going to be remembering why you're depleted. And that's where the bitterness, the resentment, and the unforgiveness is going to come from. This is why you're going to be able to think to yourself that my partner's the enemy, they're stealing my peace because they're not allowing you to have peace because you're not setting that boundary. So it's actually on you to set that boundary and say, listen, say it lovingly. You don't have to say like, I can't deal with this right now. You know, I'm in PMDD, or you're in PMDD. I can't deal with your emotions right now. Just say, I love you. I care about you. I can't take this one on. Like, I just need to regulate my own emotions right now. And the next reason is supporting your partner shouldn't mean that you're losing yourself. If there are things that you genuinely love doing, that you find joy, you find peace in doing, then you don't stop doing those things just because you're with your partner, because you are going to resent them. So loving someone with PMDD or being in a PMDD relationship does not mean that you're absorbing your partner's pain every single month. It doesn't mean that it's your job to fix their insecurity. It doesn't mean that you're taking the blame for their emotions and their moods and the way that they've been triggered. That's not what the requirement is. You're not being a bad PMDD partner if you're doing things that genuinely bring you joy. Some partners, if in you're kind of in a codependent relationship if you feel like you can't be happy if your partner's not happy. And I'm going to say that with love, because I've been in relationships like that where it's like, I'm actually in a really good place. Like, I'm actually feeling really good about myself and my partner's feeling like crap. And I almost feel like I can't even celebrate, certain wins that I was having, or I can't even celebrate things that I have going on because they're in a bad place. So what I want to let you know out of this whole episode is you can support your PMDD partner, whether it's the partner that has PMDD or the partner that doesn't, without losing yourself. So ask yourself that question right now. Am I losing myself by trying to support my partner? This is a very simple question to ask to see if you're falling in this category. Am I losing myself while trying to support my partner? And if the answer is yes, that's okay. Because I've been there where I've had to been like, hey, this is actually a me thing. Like, I actually put myself in this situation. And what you can do is provide them with support in a way that is, remember, get an outside entity with whatever area of their life that they're trying to work on that is providing issues in your PMDD relationships. If they're having issues with finances, get a financial counselor, get someone, invest in someone that can help you. So this is one of the reasons why I created the PMDD Power Couples membership. It's a group counseling membership where whatever you have going on in your PMDD relationship, you're going to be able to meet with me on a weekly basis and be able to get those questions answers and deal with it and not be depending on your partner. You can come on there. Your partner can come on there. If that's something that you know that you need help with and you know that you would rather, which a lot of my private clients say, I would rather talk about this issue with Dr. Rose than for us to talk about it just the two of us, because we're going to be going at it. We're going to be blaming. We're going to be criticizing. We're going to be getting defensive, and it's not going to be healthy. If this is something that you know that you need help with, go to inlovewithpmdd.com. The membership is in the show notes. We are going to be launching this month the PMDD Power Couples, and this is going to be a great way for you to take all of the issues that you have in your PMDD relationship and have someone else deal with them for you, that you're not the person, so you don't get burnt out and you have that level of accountability where you can say, hey, we don't need to argue about this right now. Let's wait until we go into the PMDD Power Couples and we'll talk about it in there. So until next time, we got this. Love you. I hope these tools help you and your PMDD partner. If you have not enrolled to get the course, My Partner Has PMDD, Now What? Then you want to make sure that you are one of the first 12 individuals that gets the course for the month of December to get that complimentary private session with me. And then after that, it'll go back to regular price without the private sessions. But what this course is going to do for you is give your partner all of the tools that they need on how to be a supportive PMDD partner. What does that look like? I always say that your partner doesn't need more information. They need more implementation. They need more transformational tools. And this is the program for you. So I'm looking forward to you getting those tools in the program. And until next episode, we got this.